Welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlis here, and this is how to use Zekrom. So Zekrom is going to be the legendary counterpart to Reshiram, and that's going to be the same thing for the stats, except mirrored for special and physical. Zekrom is going to be the physical counterpart, and it's going to have 150 in the attack, 120 on the defense, 120 on the special attack, and then 100 on the special defense. So still a tanky Pokemon, just has those legendary bulky stats to it. Then we have 100 on the hit points and 90 on the speed. So we're going to need to like Scarf or find some kind of way of speed boosting to get to insane sweeping levels. From that, we can definitely take a hit and try to dish a KO back. We got typing, Dragon Electric typing. So Dragon Electric going to have a good amount of weaknesses, Ground, Ice, Dragon, and Fairy, but also high amount of resistances with Flying, Steel, Fire, Water, Grass, and Electric, and you get a huge resistance on that Electric. So that's pretty much all there is about the basics to Zekrom. Let's go and hop into Pokemon Showdown, and we're going to see how to use it. With Zekrom, you're pretty much just going to be a pure offensive Pokemon that's going to be physically, and it's going to kind of be the same to Reshiram in that way. That Bolt Strike is going to be 130 stab base power, 85% accuracy, 20% chance to paralyze. Then you have a very high amount of damage from that Outrage. Volt Switch, because you are going to be running a Choice Scarf or a Choice item in some sets, so that does give you the little bit of damage, but nothing insane. And then Stone Edge. Stone Edge just to broaden the amount of damage you can do to different kind of Pokemon, and that's really what we're looking at with Zekrom, that you just max out the attack, you max out the speed, and hope for the best. I was thinking if you're running Scarf, well, you just run that Adamant Nature, because 90 base speed with a Scarf is going to be able to outspeed 140 base speed Pokemon, even if you are running an offensive nature, so this is going to be pretty nice for doing as much damage as possible. Now, Zekrom is going to be lacking compared to Reshiram because it doesn't have that Life Orb. It's going to have that damage drop, so it won't be able to one-hit KO everything with just outrageous amounts of power. But we do have that Adamant Nature, and we can still find good amounts of damage. But if we're going up against, like, defensively invested Pokemon, we can still reasonably two-hit KO most of them. So that's where the Choice Scarf kind of becomes, like, our advantage in a way, that with Choice Scarf, we're two-hit KOing them anyways. It's not like with Reshiram where you need to set up the Flame Charge and go for that KO. So that first KO is still going to be the same. If Zekrom's still finding outspeed because of the Scarf, that can work out pretty well, or you just try to do as much damage as possible. And my guess is that you just speed boost into it. That if you Baton Pass speed into Zekrom, it's going to be an incredible Pokemon. That's where you can run the Life Orb, that's when you can just bring in some more damage for it. And that's really all that you need to worry about, is like getting speed into it. So it'd be kind of the same if you like Baton Pass the Calm Mind or something into Reshiram. But Zekrom, you know, if you give it the stats, it will be amazing. Sticky Web support, you won't need that Choice Scarf, then you can run something like a Life Orb, and that's going to be awesome. And that Zekrom does also have a Hone Claws setup. So this would be another one that if you're setting up, if you're getting some speed in this Pokemon somehow, Sticky Web support helps, but if you're investing in hit points, giving it 2 speed boosts, like all you need to do is have a speed boost Pokemon with Baton Pass, go for 2 turns, and then go into Zekrom, and now this Pokemon's going to be terrifying. You can set up your own Hone Claws. Hone Claws is actually going to be a huge advantage in this way because Hone Claws plus Bolt Strike. Well, you're gaining accuracy every time you use Hone Claws, and then Bolt Strike is going to be crazy damage. And as we've seen with a Pokemon like Reshiram, all we need is the 30% boost from 1 Life Orbs. 1 Hone Claws is going to be 50% damage, so Bolt Strike, it's going to be in 1-hit KO range again, and that's going to be pretty nice. My idea was that we just max hit point investment, we have the Roost, so with Roost in these max hit points, it's going to be very hard for something to 2-hit KO us, so we can always Roost out of it, and if we get that Hone Claw set up, we're going to be good to go. This isn't even counting if we get speed into the Pokemon, and then we also have Dragon Claw, so 2 Hone Claws into a Dragon Claw will make up for that damage a bit, but mostly it's going to be Bolt Strike and then Dragon Claw if it's a ground-type Pokemon, and that's really all that there is to it. Now, the cool thing about Terravolt, and I really didn't mention this with Reshiram's abilities, is that you can go through other Pokemon's abilities. That's pretty much like a Mold Breaker. Pokemon's moves and their effects ignore abilities of other Pokemon. So, with Reshiram, you can hit Flash Fire Pokemon, and with Zekrom, you can hit Volt Absorb Pokemon. It's just a little bit of extra things that's pretty nice if you're just going for Slam Jam Bolt Strike damage. Now, with a moveset like this, Life Orb is a bit overkill, so you can go with the Leftovers or Citrus Berry. Citrus Berry means you're going to be able to get the setup a lot quicker, and then you just go for the sweep. Leftovers means that over time you might be pretty nice. Or you go with the Shucca Berry. Shucca Berry is going to be very nice because halves damage from super effective ground-type attacks. This might be what you need. If you're already outspeeding that Pokemon, well, you can just use that Shucca Berry to get a Hone Claws, then one-shot that Pokemon, and you're good to go. Earthquake is super common, and it's going to be a weakness, but if you're setting up and you're still playing tanky, you really don't have to worry about it as much. So that's going to be set up Zekrom, other than just like the super damaged Zekrom like this. And then really it's just going to be, you could run things like Tailwind. So Tailwind is going to be interesting. You can run it on a set like this maybe, that if instead of Roost, you just run the Tailwind. So Hone Claws Tailwind, and then you try to go for 3 turns of pure sweep, insane damage. That means you don't have to play the sticky web, baton pass game, whatever. You use the Tailwind. It's a lot of setup though, that's 2 turns. But if you survive through it because your opponent's going for their own setup, that could be pretty nice. And if you're running the Tailwind, then I think that Outrage works out pretty well because it's going to last around the same amount of turns. So you Hone Claws Tailwind into Outrage, and you're just going to be good to go if Bolt Strike isn't needed at that moment. And then for the last moveset, I was thinking Choice Band. Life Orb could work, but Life Orb is more going to be if you're baton passing into it or giving some kind of boost like that. But with Choice Band is going to be pretty nice. You just 150 base attack, Choice Band, lock yourself into one-shotting everything with an Outrage. Maybe hit point attack investment, try to get a 2-for-1 out of it, and that's going to be a pretty good way to use Zekrom. So that's really all that there is to Zekrom, maybe some Thunder Wave shenanigans, but overall, just very high amounts of damage potential. You need to get over that speed, which Reshiram can do a little better, but if Zekrom can get off, it can do really well because of the Hone Claws, and that doesn't have to worry about accuracy as much. So if you guys enjoyed the video, that's how you use Zekrom, and I hope you all have a nice day. Thank you for watching.